最近おじいちゃんいるから違うけど久しぶりにバイブス上げてこうウレソンできるスイカ
How's it going, y'all? And welcome to Castaway Anime, your favorite anime podcast. As always, I'm Neon Manta.
And I'm Crunchy Bagels.
And we're very glad that y'all joined us on this, the continuation of our Bleach Break marathon. We're making it its own thing, separate from the main Castaway Anime podcast series. So we're going to be continuing our coverage of the Arrancar, Hueco Mundo Sneak Entry arc where we last left off. If you enjoy the podcast and want to hear more of our objectively correct takes, registered trademark, then be sure to subscribe to Castaway Anime here on YouTube and follow us wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode of the best anime podcast and also the best Bleach anime podcast as well. We're cornering the market, Crunchy.
Yeah, so we're back after... How long has it been since the last time we did this? It feels like it's been
Jesus
forever.
Christ, let me check. I mean, it's always the most constant running gag in the history of Castaway Anime to take long, extensive breaks from Bleach. It's coming up on... it's been 5 months. Not quite half a year, but close.
It feels even longer somehow.
It does feel like it's been like half a year.
Yeah, but we're back, and you know what, Neon? I have an apology to make to Kubo. I wasn't familiar with his game. He made Orihime just so useful in this block of episodes. She kicked ass at every possible turn. I'm really starting to think, like, you know, the fact that she was so useless up to this point, it's really just come around to become this, this hurdle she has to overcome. And she's really just done so much in this block of episodes to make up for it. And I really think she's just been transformed as a character. I could not be happier with how they've treated Orihime this block. Yeah, Bleach is a 10 out of 10 now.
I know. Like it's crazy the level of depths of writing that it's crazy the level of depths of writing that Kubo will reach to. You know, the editors at Weekly Shonen Jump were like, "Hey, Mr. Kubo, you have a prominent arc centering around a female character. What are you going to do with her?" And then Kubo just turns around at him with the
Question, isn't this literally the premise of the Bount arc? Because obviously we didn't watch it, but I recall you saying that in one of the early episodes of the Bount arc, Orihime gets trapped somewhere.
I think it is, but I thought you were gonna say, isn't this literally just the plot of the Soul Society arc, but again?
Well,
except we switched Rukia for Orihime, and we've switched the Soul Society for the Hueco Mundo.
Well, I don't even mind that so much, as it is just... when is Orihime going to do something? Because Aizen...
What are you talking about? She has done something. She's been captured.
I guess that is technically something that she...
It's not something on her volition as a character. She's just become a damsel in distress now.
Well, see... What cracks me up about this plot development is that the show, it feels like the show is gaslighting me, because Aizen keeps going on about how Orihime is just so special, man. She's got the craziest power ever. This can, like, change the game. That's why we need Orihime. And I'm like, wait, no, she's done fuck all this entire show. The fuck you mean her power is special? All she's done so far is heal people and sit while the big men take care of everything. The fuck you're talking about?
Yeah, she's the ideal female character.
Yeah, truly. No, because
Kubo is simply base.
Last podcast was saying, look, I know she's gonna get kidnapped. It's obvious. I laughed to myself when... You know, I saw the ED. I'm not sure if they played this ED for any of the episodes in last block. I probably just skipped over it if it did.
I'm pretty sure they didn't, but I mean, even looking at the opening, you can tell.
Well, yeah, the opening, but the ending, I sort of cracked up at how blatant it was. Because at least in the opening, you know, you get these sort of isolated shots of the window she's going to be looking out of, pining for freedom. And then, you know, Orihime sort of juxtaposed against Aizen. And then the ED is just like, yeah, so anyway, she gets captured. It's just blatantly, she's looking out that window, and I'm like, oh, we're doing this now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it, but
we're doing
you didn't
Soul
have
Society Arc 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Well, also, just anyone but Orihime, the girl who's not done anything, basically nothing badass compared to any of the other characters. But on top of that, right, I was saying last podcast, look, if she can at least do something mildly cool before she gets captured, maybe I can be mostly okay with it. And then she just, I mean, I guess she heals those dudes who get chopped in half. I guess that's like
those NPCs.
Yeah, those literal non-characters.
She trains a little bit with Rukia, then she molests Ichigo in the night, and then she gets whisked away.
Yeah,
what
so
a character.
It's a fucking unbadass. It's her pining over the actual autonomous character in the show. And then, as you said, removing
like I
his
said,
autonomy.
Kubo's base.
Look, if you think about it, she did, kiss the guy while he had no autonomy. So I guess she is lording her autonomy.
I don't think she.
No,
she didn't actually kiss him.
No.
Though she wanted to, but she said,
Yeah,
I can't even bring myself to do it. I can't bring myself to molest you, Ichigo. It's my last act of free will before I'm taken away."
True. So she didn't even get to. She didn't even get to do that. So, yeah, overall, Orihime is the best female character in any shonen.
Yeah, I mean, like, Nobara who, Uraraka who, Rukia who, Momo Ayase who, like, come on.
She literally gets bested by every single other female character in this show, and she is one of the main characters. Fucking... You can literally name any of them, and they've done infinitely more badass things. At least...
Tatsuki.
I mean, okay. True. I mean, she's still cool, but she does not do... It's a shame.
She's cooler than Orihime.
True. She hasn't even done anything. She's done less than Orihime, and the nothing she's done still makes her more badass than Orihime. Like, she actually
I love
gets
the one line that what the fuck, that one of the Ichigo's friends say, being like, "We're not the only ones who have been left out. Off the top of my head, the first one who comes to mind is Tatsuki," and that's just Kubo. I like to think that that's Kubo self-reporting.
I
leaving
did
Tatsuki out
that.
of the entire thing when she could definitely be a Chad, definitely be a Chad character, where she could use her powers to fight.
God. See, I thought Tatsuki was gonna be in this arc. I was convinced for a small period of time. Did you,
like me, get like a flash of hope when you saw Tatsuki following Ichigo to
I will tell you
place?
exactly what I wrote in my notes. Because I said earlier, forgive me, Kubo, I wasn't familiar with your game. But that is what I wrote down when I saw Tatsuki getting involved in the show. Like, she's yelling at him, "Hey, I'm your friend, too. Like, you've just left me out of everything." And I'm like, oh my god, he's self-reporting. He knows. He's gonna rectify everything. But what I was also excited for is, the Soul Society has left him behind, Rukia and Renji, out of, like, whatever... Like, whatever things they have to do with the Soul Society, they can't help him out or whatever. Until they do, but, that's later. But I was like, okay, it's looking dire. Ichigo is looking like he's about to solo this. Obviously, he isn't. But then I see Tatsuki, and I'm like, oh, is it going to be like Ichigo, Tatsuki, and, maybe a couple others just taking on this fortress? And we've got Tatsuki who, like, doesn't know that much about fighting, but can still, like, prove her worth. Like, obviously she's, going to be, probably the weakest one of the characters there. But, she's going to be, she's going to do something, right? She's going to do something cool, and she's going to be some kind of asset. And then she, like, watches them leave and does not go in after them, which I thought she was going to do. And then I shed a single tear.
Yes, a single solitary tear.
Damn you, Kubo!
Why does Kubo insist on having no all the other female characters take a fucking backseat? Like let's name all of like the female characters in Bleach that have done something. There's Kukaku, there's Yoruichi.
I mean, Rukia's done stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah, but she also got captured.
Yeah, but she's still done infinitely more than Orihime.
That's true, I suppose. Do we count Soifon as doing things if all she did was really just fight Yoruichi?
I mean, she fought more than Orihime, I can tell you that much. That's still more than Orihime.
Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs to be a powerless female character in the world of Bleach.
It still presses me because it felt like we were building up to the Tatsuki rescue arc. Tatsuki there with Ichigo side by side, like, you know, this underexplored dynamic that, like, for the one episode it was present in this block of episodes, I was, you know, completely on board with it. I have an entire paragraph of just based in all caps when she punched him. We were building up to something. No, I was getting edged and then I couldn't quite goon. And it's a sad state of affairs.
Yeah, it's it's just a thing to deal with. But now Orihime has been captured by the Arrancars and the Espada and Lord Aizen.
Yeah. That's the main thing this block of episodes. So they get captured like a few episodes in. Well, she does. And then we're on our path to the Hueco Mundo. And, you know, Ichigo, Ishida, and my man Chad, they're storming the base, along with a literal child.
Yeah, like, all right, Crunchy. You have to contain yourself, please. I know it's hard for you when you see a female child character who then self-confirms as a masochist. But please, you have to maintain a sense of professionalism here.
Well, guess what, Neon? I know the twist. She is not actually a child. She becomes the hottest character in Bleach. Presumably,
you know the twist.
Yeah, I know the twist. She pulls a Yoruichi.
Who spoiled it for you?
So I had seen her in the character list on AniList, which they use her child picture, but I really liked her design. Right, Nell 2. So I was like, okay, I'm just curious. Like, does she stay in the show?
I'm just curious. So let me click on the child character.
No, so I typed her name into Google and then immediately got blasted with adult version of her, and was like, she okay, Kubo's cooking.
Thank God. I thought I was gonna get in hot water there for a second. Phew. I can claim plausible deniability.
It is the most Kubo twist in existence, let's be real. And then the character becomes a hot girl. That's like Kubo's thing.
I mean, he draws hot girls, but I don't know if he's ever taken I think it's gonna be the first time he takes a child character and turns them into a hot girl.
Yeah, child character specifically, but he turns a cat into a hot girl. So this isn't unprecedented.
I suppose.
Yeah. By the way, I love Nell and the Arrancars that she has as quote unquote brothers. I
think they're alright so far.
I just love their dynamic with each other. Like they're super goofy and super lovable. Especially Nell. I love Nell. Protect her at all costs. Or I guess she'll soon protect herself at all costs. And by doing so, become a better female character than Orihime.
Yeah. Has Nell already done more than Orihime?
She's at least like okay, so she has chased after Ichigo, which I guess Orihime has been doing this entire time. So, you know, I guess Orihime has her beat there. But it's at least she is looking at Ichigo at the end of the final episode of this block on the ropes, like actually about to do something about it by transforming. That is already more than Orihime. Like, if this block of episodes was a single episode longer, I'm sure it would not even be a question which one has done more. Because I have a feeling, once again, she's presumably about to transform into her hot girl form, which means she is presumably going to become extremely plot relevant and, is going to be a character that can change the tide of this battle. Which, once again, Orihime has never done. She has always been deadweight.
Yeah.
You know what's insane though? I still hold out some hope because Orihime has said like, okay, she's cooking up a plan, right? She's in her bird cage or whatever, but she does still have a plan. She's like, I'm going to fucking reject the entire existence of the Hogyoku. So she's like cooking up some sort of subterfuge. Well, maybe Kubo can do. Maybe Orihime can save herself before all the big boys have to save her, and the new better female character come and save her. Maybe she can do something. Maybe 151 episodes into this show, Orihime can become a character. Maybe.
Hey, man, I suppose never say never. It took like 140 something episodes, but Chad finally won a fight.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
I jokingly said when he punched the rock, I jokingly wrote in my notes, "Oh my god, Chad finally won a fight." But then the very next episode, he actually wins a legit fight.
Not gonna lie, it took me like a few seconds to remember which fight you're talking about because it is not a big one. But he does, in fact, win a fight.
It is against an NPC.
And Arrancar. So, props to him, I guess.
There do be a lot of NPCs in this arc.
Yeah, you can sort of tell that this is the stage where we're really trying hard not to catch up with the source material. Which is why a lot of the episodes are like 30% recap.
Yeah, jumping from, what was it, episode number 146 to 150 and skipping the 3 episodes of the classic anime cliche of, oh, we're being trapped in the fucking Zelda Lost Woods.
Dude, I had a laugh to myself when I saw that the episode that we returned to, episode 150, recaps all the filler episodes. It's like they know that we're skipping it. And then I sat around for that recap for once because I hadn't seen the episodes. And it all looked like a boring waste of time and vindicated our decision to not watch them. Oh wow, this Soul Reaper has been stuck in the woods and he dies. Okay. I mean, what does he do? What does he have to do with like the pressing matters at hand? Like
nothing is the answer.
See, when we were,
we needed a little time for Kubo to get ahead.
When I first skipped the filler episodes, there was a part of me that was like, well, maybe they're worth it just to see more of the gang of hollows that have 3 different names, according to themselves. Maybe it's, worth it just to see them interact more. And then I saw what the plot synopsis was based on that recap and was like, nope. No, I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, no, we don't fuck with Bleach filler here.
Yeah, so I feel like I've been blabbing on. Okay, yeah, you're about to say something.
I was gonna say, speaking of not dealing with anyone's shit, Grimmjow is now back in full force and has completely owned Tentacle Man.
Yeah, so Grimmjow, he's back. He has both his arms again because of Orihime.
Yeah, I love the bit where he's like, "Hey, heal my scar too," okay, because the scar that Ichigo left him with his Getsuga Tensho covered up his Espada 6 tattoo, so that way he's like, "All right, well, now that my mark is back, I guess that makes me the 6th Espada again. Let me just make it official." And then he kills the Tentacle Man.
Yeah, that was based. And
Yeah, so we jumped around a little, but honestly, the first half of this block wasn't too exciting.
the first half of this block was, I mean, we get a little bit of fighting with, the plan to capture Orihime, which I do like how it's revealed of like, oh, why are they attacking? Like, what tactical purpose does this have? And eventually, you gradually realize like, oh, okay, Aizen's cooking as usual.
Bro is playing 5-dimensional chess. I love how it's revealed later that it's like, oh, Aizen's plan all along was to manipulate Orihime into like coming along of we fool her into thinking that's her own free will that we're capturing her. We're saying like, hey, if you don't come with us, we're gonna kill all your friends. Well, we were never gonna kill your friends in the first place. We were just gonna fight them to make you think they were going to die.
The thing I love about that is that is a question I had immediately of like, why the fuck would you let her say goodbye? Like, what tactical purpose could that possibly have? Why are you suddenly giving her any amount of empathy? But as it turns out, no, it's not empathy. It's Aizen cooking as usual. So that was a good reveal. I liked that.
Yeah, I love that it's revealed that when Orihime heals Ichigo's injuries before she leaves him, the head captain Yamamoto is like, oh, well, if she did that, that means that she had ample time to, hang around and like let one of us know what her deal was. But if she's gone and she's with the Espada, the only logical explanation is that she's a traitor, and now the Soul Society will not help her. So Aizen pretty much like got the Soul Society to fuck off.
Yeah, Soul Society leaders being incompetent as usual.
Yeah, it pissed me off with that one line of Rukia and Renji joining the crew, and then her being like, Ichigo, why didn't you just wait for us to join you in going to Hueco Mundo? Like, bitch, you were pulled back by the head captain. Like, literally, the orders came from the top. What the fuck are you talking about?
That's fair, but counterpoint, and maybe this is just me being fucking cucked and abused by this show too much, but I'm like, I looked at that as like, okay, there's a through line. There was a through line of, hey, like, trust your friends, believe in your friends, bro. And I'm like, oh, friends?
I mean,
oh,
I know
Tatsuki's
that's
a friend.
the reason.
Tatsuki's a friend. Orihime's a friend. Come on, you can trust them now.
I know that's the reason, but it's like a dumb way to get to that reason.
Yeah, that is completely fair. Yeah, so honestly,
I love Aizen. Aizen has the big dick aura.
Right now, he is not necessarily a complex villain. I've heard that happens later, but I am unspoiled. But he has, yeah, like you said, aura. He has sauce to him. He has presence.
I love that he always maintains control of the situation. He's like he can even be courteous. He's like very nice to Orihime.
That dude, the line where he said like, "Oh, intruders are coming. Let's get some tea." Sauce, absolute sauce. The balls on this man.
And it's like, oh, what's that? We're under attack. Oh, okay. Does everyone have their cup of tea? Has everyone poured themselves a nice cup? All right. Now everyone go back to your quarters and ignore their invasion entirely. Let them come to us. And Grimmjow's like, fuck that. I know what you want us to do, Aizen. I'm gonna go fuck him up right now because Ichigo is one of them. And then Aizen's like, oh, you know what, Grimmjow, I appreciate your enthusiasm. You're a real go-getter, champ, but that's not what I wanted you to do. So please return to your seat. And then he doesn't move, and he's just like, oh, I'm sorry, I must not have heard your answer correctly if you gave one at all. And then he just lets loose his spiritual pressure, and Grimmjow falls to his knees.
Yeah, that was based. I also love the explanation that one of the NPC Arrancars that it was the one that Ishida beat, where he's like, the reason why us Arrancars love Aizen so much is because he is completely fearless. Like, we Hollows are born from fear, we constantly feel it, and then we just swarm around this man who is literally bereft of fear, and I'm like, ooh, that is characterizing. Like, that gives... Once again, he has aura!
I love that his aura is like literally canon. Like you bend the knee to characters' aura in the show, like Kenpachi in the Soul Society arc, and Byakuya and Yamamoto.
His aura is literally Kenpachi's on crack. Like, just thrice the power. Yeah,
I'm low key getting tired of seeing all our characters fight with all a bunch of NPCs and small fry. I want to see the important named characters go at it. I want to see Kenpachi take a swing at Aizen, see who comes out of that one.
Yeah, that will be... I mean, I don't mind it too much. I will agree it's mostly because of the way this show is paced, i.e. very thin on the ground per episode, especially with all the fucking recap. But I don't mind it too much since it does feel like we're building towards something. But I will agree that it feels like there's not much to talk about this block of episodes because so little happened in it. Like, I feel like we've already gotten most of the big picture critiques and ideas.
Yeah, I'm looking through my notes. Like the initial Arrancar attack is like we already talked about that. The whole thing with Orihime being turned into a ghost and then sneaks into Ichigo's room because she's a genuine freak. He even makes it a point to say, "Oh, it has your scent, Ichigo," and takes a big fucking whiff.
I have barely any notes per episode. I have almost nothing.
I have a shocking lack of notes given how many episodes in this 11 episode stretch.
The thing is, I do still like the show. It is still very engaging on a moment to moment basis. Less so in the first half where I was starting to drift off at certain points, but in the here's the thing with Bleach. It always, like, finds some way to recapture my attention of being like, oh, we're in Hueco Mundo, and Tatsuki jump scares you into thinking she's back, and then she's not. But hey, we've got Nell. She's cute, and she will turn into a hot girl next episode, which is the best thing that's ever happened in the entire show. And so why, you gotta keep watching. I did feel that urge at the very end to be like, maybe I should hit the next episode button. It is there. It does exist. But at the end of the day, it's been how long?
Yeah, Bleach is a real teeter-totter show. It's like it's a roller coaster, not in the sense of like it's a nonstop thrill ride, but in the sense of there's a lot of buildup, lot of buildup. It's like a never-ending upward ramp that you're like, all right, we're getting there, and then it finally goes down because that's what the Soul Society arc was. That it was a lot of buildup, but then when it finally kicked off, it was like nonstop action and cool stuff happening. Like, I feel like ever since we got to when they actually invaded the Soul Society through the canon thing, and then they were starting to fight guys like Ikkaku and Kenpachi, that's when it like picked up and never slowed down again. Well, it slowed down a little for Yoruichi to teach Ichigo Bankai, but even then there was like all kinds of shit going on in the background. Like I'm pretty sure Uryu's fight with Mayuri was at that time. The whole thing of Renji trying to take on Byakuya.
See, I like the feeling of buildup that we're in now. It's just frustrating that it doesn't feel like... The show just isn't aware of its problems, is the thing.
Honestly, at this point, like we've already pointed out, it feels like Kubo is aware of the problems and just refuses to do anything about it.
How cool would it have been for Hueco Mundo to be something like the Soul Society, where there's a little more going on than just a barren desert? There are, like, things to do, and this is, like, this could be the training ground for Tatsuki. Tatsuki is like in this new situation. She doesn't know what the fuck is going on, but we're like teaching her the ropes, and we get like, a few episodes dedicated to like catching Tatsuki up to speed, proving her worth, and then we infiltrate the fortress. We can even still have, Nell too, because she's awesome and I love her. And she turns into, I cannot stress this enough, she turns into a hot girl, so she's the best character.
Maybe Tatsuki could have done a little training with the Nell and the other Arrancar guys.
Tatsuki training arc would go so unbelievably, diabolically hard. And Kubo
and to be fair, maybe Urahara does tease after he finds Tatsuki and the friends is spying on them, being like, all right, well, time waits for no one. Maybe they're gonna get training. Maybe maybe not just Tatsuki, but hopefully mainly Tatsuki, because I don't really care about the other two guys.
The other two I cannot give less of a fuck about. I hope they're out of the show after this, is what I think literally every episode. And somehow they always return. The thing is, I feel like this would have been the perfect time to get Tatsuki in on the action. Because we had that, a big part of an episode dedicated to her wanting to join in on Ichigo and Ko's antics. And we're at like the peak of tension. Orihime's gone. Tatsuki knows. Tatsuki cannot sense her anymore. She is pissed. She wants in on everything. And then we cuck her out of all of it. And I'm like, dude, it would have been so peak though.
Yeah. Here's a question I have. Do you think the Visored are going to get involved with the Hueco Mundo stuff?
The Hueco Mundo stuff? It's possible, but I feel like they're going to have a role more. I mean, does most... Because I'm not sure exactly where the arc is going, because we were building up for like a conflict later on, but now we've just sort of jump cut to actually we're invading now. So I'm not sure how much of the Arrancar we're going to knock out in this arc and how much of a presence they'll have later. If they have, if this is like the initial tease of like we're just rescuing Orihime and not going to, knock all of them out, obviously. If we're, just like getting the fuck out, I think they're going to have more of a presence later. But if this is where a majority of like the climax of this arc happens, I mean, I feel like they got to. I feel like at least Shinji's got to like show up at some point.
Yeah. He already showed up once to save everyone from Grimmjow in the human world, so maybe he's got a way to get to Hueco Mundo too. Maybe he's gonna be like, Ichigo, I told you your visor training wasn't complete yet. Maybe he'll pull a Yoruichi and be like, while you're in Hueco Mundo, while we still have time, we're going to train you to master your visored powers.
While I'm thinking of it, I just need to mention, Ichigo says that he can use his visored powers for 11 seconds. He specifies this. That was way longer than 11 seconds, Ichigo. It's
anime time.
I know, but I was thinking that the entire
Planet Namek will be destroyed in 5 minutes. Yada yada.
Meanwhile, it takes like 3 episodes. Yeah,
way more than. I'm just quick going through my notes, seeing if there's anything else, because I hate to cut the podcast like too short. Like maybe I think like there's one more thing to talk about. I mean, we got a glimpse of mind broken Orihime. That's a big dub.
Yeah, I mean, she's at least going through something emotionally. Maybe, I mean, she's not doing anything badass, but she's at least going through an arc.
Yeah, all right, here, let's veer the topic into a grander discussion to see if we can, like, get to talk about Bleach as a whole, because I think I've brought this up a couple times throughout the Bleach podcast, because we were watching Jujutsu Kaisen, primarily for the first time. I forget, did you already watch the first few episodes of season 1 of JJK?
I had seen the first half of it once before. And then this was my first time like going through the entire season, as well as obviously season 2.
Yeah. So let me bring this up to the last part of this podcast just to really stretch it out at least to like the 45-minute mark. Uh, how would you feel? Would you say is better? Because like we have even skipping all of the filler, we have long surpassed the episode count of JJK. How would you feel like the two shows are comparable?
See, it's weird because on the one hand, I do think that JJK is, from a technical perspective, a better told story, and it reaches higher highs. But I feel like Bleach, I just have a lot more investment in Bleach. And I know that's kind of cheating because it's been so many more episodes.
You've been Stockholm Syndrome into having investment in Bleach.
I really am. I like most of the characters. I'm frustrated at Orihime, but I do still, like, if she started doing badass things, like, that would be great. The biggest problem with the show would be gone. And I think Bleach overall, like, its world and characters do just appeal to me more. Even if JJK is
there does seem to be a lot more like lore and setting behind the world of Bleach than JJK.
I feel like the thing with the JJK is that it does, as you said in the podcast, it blows its load kind of quickly. Where, you know, you were the one who brought this up initially, and I came around in the end being like, yeah, there should have been another arc before, you know, the main primary arc of season 2 that takes up the bulk of it. Shibuya, yeah. Whereas Bleach does have those huge, sometimes too long buildups, but when it reaches the payoff, it does, you know, it feels so much more earned. Whereas in Jujutsu Kaisen, insane shit does happen, and it is very fascinating when it does, but it also does feel kind of undercooked by comparison. Whereas Bleach, it spends a long time cooking, and it doesn't, you know, it has obvious gaping holes. There are parts of the turkey that are clearly, like, basically raw, but damn, when it cooks, it does indeed cook.
Yeah, definitely the peak of Bleach in its entirety so far has been the Ichigo versus Byakuya fight.
Yeah, I feel like this arc is going to hit those highs. I do have that amount of faith. I don't have faith that it'll do any of the things it should have done like 100 episodes ago, 130 episodes ago even. But basically since the beginning of the show, fucking give Orihime a point. Get Tatsuki in on the action. But I do have faith that it'll hit those highs again.
Yeah, would you say that, do you agree that the Ichigo Byakuya fight is the peak of, like, the entirety of Bleach so far?
I don't think I was as big on that fight as you were, because you seem to always cite it as, like, oh, this is clearly, like, the one. I tend to view the fights more even-handedly, but I do think it was, like, that entire Soul Society arc of things just hitting the fan constantly, I feel would be the height of the series thus far.
Because for me, the whole the best part of watching shonen anime is getting that, like, that, though you sit through all the episodes and, you know, some of them have like varying degrees of length and time between the Kino moments, but when Ichigo goes Bankai and then brings his sword up to Byakuya's neck when he, like, before he even notices, like, that's like not the only time in Bleach I've ever popped off, but definitely the biggest pop off I've ever had watching Bleach.
Yeah, it was definitely a good one. And
Yeah,
I mean, what I think,
reason I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, what I think captures me the most about Bleach, and I mean shonen as a whole, but I don't have as much experience with it as you, is just the chaos you get from every character and every villain being in the same place about to throw hands. Like, there is a certain level of just everything is always happening all at once, and, like, you know, when you have the huge build up into that, I think that is just inherently engaging. Like, that is inherently fucking awesome. And the fact that we are doing that in Bleach right now, it is entertaining. I do like that about the show. But yeah, go ahead.
It does feel like that by splitting up all our characters right now, it feels like they are going to like fight at least one Espada member per person, and we're gonna like that I feel like that's what Bleach does that shows like JJK aren't doing, is that they're going for the quantity. They're like, okay, we're gonna have like a Bleachillion characters, and we're all gonna set them up like they're, because we have so many and there's only so many episodes to work with, they can only be developed so much. But by having all these characters and by doing stuff like having the Espada like ranking system, being like, okay, we'll have like all these different Arrancars in Aizen's army, but the Espada, they're the top best. They're the cream of the crop. They tower over everyone. They're just behind Aizen himself in strength. So by doing that, we can get a sense of like how strong they are and how important they are to the story, and then we can get them set up against all our other characters, and then just smash our action figures together.
Yeah, it is very. Even with the slow pacing, like Bleach practically gets away with murder just because it does have such a level of inherent entertainment value, even if it is kind of a popcorn entertainment. It still is good on a moment-to-moment basis. It's just that if you think it's peak fiction, you're wrong.
Here's a question for you. Do you think you would enjoy Bleach more as a manga if you were reading it from volume 1 up to where we are now? Do you think it would have been a more enjoyable alternative?
Probably. I will say anime has something inherent to it that I like more than manga. Just personal preference here. Like, just seeing things literally moving with the voice acting and OST, that does do something for me. But Bleach is, once again, the adaptation is pretty thin on the ground at this point. Things do happen pretty slowly. And, with a manga, it's just inherently faster. And you can imagine
yeah,
the
like
version...
all like the slow build-up parts. I can't help but wonder if it would go a lot faster if you were just reading through it.
Oh, it absolutely would. And
yeah,
I mean, the way I've heard this anecdote, I obviously haven't verified it, so take it with a grain of salt. But apparently, Kubo thinks of the Bleach arcs, or at least, like certain parts of the arcs as like, read them continuously as if it were a movie. And obviously, the anime is not paced like that at all. But I feel like the manga would evoke that sense of pacing that he's talking about much more. And, that's probably the better way to consume the series.
yeah, like because we go on about how the Bleach anime is like good popcorn entertainment. Like, it's just easy to get into a groove and just watch episodes one after the other. So I'm just thinking, like, man, if it's this easy to watch Bleach, even with all these like problems that it has for the anime and pacing, imagine how like much of a breeze it'll be to read a bunch of chapters, maybe even like multiple volumes of Bleach in a day.
Yeah, I mean, I could easily read multiple volumes of this in a day because it is, once again, like just so easy to pick up and not put down. There is a very bingeable quality to it. It's just that it doesn't have quality in other places.
Yeah, like bringing the conversation back to the whole JJK comparison, like even just thinking about season 2, like the whole thing with the Sukuna fight with Maharaga, Yuji finally getting one over on Mahito and hitting him with that final clash, thanks to Toto giving him that opening, and then hitting him with the "I'm you" speech. Like that whole moment, while it would have benefited more from having another arc of time behind it to build to that moment, instead of like going, full hog right into it with the less buildup. It still didn't hinder that moment from hitting as hard as it did.
Yeah. JJK, once again, it is the technically, I think, more competent story. But there is something about Bleach. I'm not gonna lie. There is something about it. It does have
maybe
a
it's like
sauce to it.
a shifting of like how shonen is being told. Like, because even if we cut out all of the filler episodes that we've watched up to this point, we'd still be like, what, 70 plus episodes of a show deep?
Yeah, whereas with JJK, it's like, no,
50?
Yeah, 50. Something like that.
Like we still would have watched more of Bleach, of canon Bleach, versus the JJK anime. And it feels like the JJK anime has like more big moments, like more concentrated moments of investment and excitement, whereas Bleach feels more like a slow burn. And maybe that's like a shifting in how shonen is being told nowadays. Like, gone are the days of the slow burn, and now it's more like it's the zoomer effect. We gotta hit him with the immediate hooks and immediate payoffs.
I think that is a good way to put it. I think on some level, Bleach's slow burn nature is what makes it such good popcorn entertainment. You don't have to pay as much attention, but at the same time, it does drag on a little at times.
Yeah, there was a moment, I feel like that exemplifies this perfectly, where there's a scene where Ukiura is explaining the whole thing to that other Espada about Aizen's 5D chess plan of manipulating Orihime's feelings, about making her not want to escape. I was like, damn, I need to go to the bathroom, but I don't want to stop watching because I want to make sure that we're on time for the podcast. So I just got up, left it playing on my headphones, and went to the bathroom. And when I came back, like, well, I don't feel like I missed anything. Whereas I feel like if this were Jujutsu Kaisen, I'd be like, well, damn, I gotta pause it because I don't want to miss anything that's going on.
Yeah, I could not imagine having anime on in the background while I take a leak. Honestly.
Well, it feels like this could be like the kind of show you can have on in the background during the slow moments while you do other shit.
Yeah, it's certainly possible, but I also watch sub, so I wouldn't understand shit.
Oh yeah, well, I suppose I should mention that I've been watching the dub this whole time, so it's easier for me.
Yeah. Yeah, you've mentioned it in prior episodes, but I always forget.
Yeah, well, I think that's just about everything of worth that we have to say right now. There's another short one, but I feel like we got a good conversation out of it.
It is kind of crazy that Bleach we watch 11 whole episodes of it, and it's still a short episode.
And we have like about 30 minutes of things to say about it, and then we have to bring the conversation to the show as a whole. But I feel like that's good for what this whole Bleach marathon that we're doing.
Yeah, true. So join us next time, 2 years from now.
Well, maybe, hopefully not 2. Maybe it'll be another 6 months. Well, who knows? Maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll get to it sooner than anticipated, but maybe not, if prior trends are any indication.
Who knows?
Yeah, either way, if you enjoyed the podcast, please give us your thoughts on what we talked about today down in the comments, what you'd like to talk about in the future. If you want to keep up with Castaway Anime and the Bleach Break podcast marathon, never miss an episode, make sure to subscribe to the channel here on YouTube, or follow us wherever you get your podcasts, subscribe to Crunchy's channel, and check out all their socials linked in the description below. That'll do her for this episode of Castaway Anime. I'm Neon Manta.
And I'm Crunchy Bagels.
And you'll see us next time.